Okay, looks like everyone's in, apparently. So what is being suggested here is that the apparent seeker seeking to find itself or the absence of itself will never get there because there's no self. So finding yourself or losing yourself is a fantasy. The me will never find the no me. The character will never see the absence or the disappearance of the character. The self will never lose the self because it's not there. The me will not undo the me. The character will never fall away. The illusion can only function in illusions, and the dream can only dream of itself. So anything that has to do with doing, trying, getting, acquiring, attaining is a fantasy, pure fantasy. Nothing is done that can undo this because what is happening is a fantasy. It's an illusion. So the fantasy of dismantling the fantasy is just another fantasy. So the apparent seeker looks for others that apparently has lost the self, but there's no one there. But what they're looking at is a fantasy. It's just another idea. Any idea about what's being expressed here is just fantasy. It's an illusion. It's a dream. It's not really happening. So this communication is not really addressing anyone. This communication is not actually doing anything at all. This sound that is appearing does not mean anything. All of these words are trying to label something that cannot be figured out, that cannot be labeled. When everything is seen as this labeled fantasy of something that is happening, that it's something that is ongoing, then there is this seeming, how do I get out of here? How do I get out of this? But the one that's asking this question, the one that is wanting the release, is the fantasy. The one that is trying to lose itself is the illusion, because there's no one. And even if there is a someone that has proclaimed that there's no one here, nothing happening, or whatever, including this character, is not here. So we're talking in pure fantasy here. We're talking in pure imagination. So what's appearing, since there's no subject and object, is as relevant as the clouds rolling by on a clear blue sky. Or an episode of a cartoon on a Saturday. So anything that is going on is equally not going on. It's just nothing at all. We can't even say nothing because it's not even happening. As I mentioned in another meeting, everything that says an ing is just inging by itself. And that's already a label of something that's not really moving. That's something that is completely still. That's something that is never changing. So apparently this fantasy of changing, this fantasy of ongoing happening, this fantasy of this relevance of me seeking to get to where I want to be, which is the absence of me, is just pure fantasy. And then someone will say, well, why are you engaging in a fantasy? Well, there's no one here choosing to engage in the fantasy. There's no one here making any decisions at all, because decision making is another fantasy. It's just another idea. So in the directness and in the directness and the intimacy of this communication right now, this is not being addressed to you. This is not engaging in the fantasy. This is not, this is an illumination that everything is fantasy and there's nothing that can be done to dismantle that. There's nothing that can be done to get out of the illusion. There's nothing that can be done to wake up from the dream, because there's no dreamer, there's no character, there's no one. So picture this, there's this river of emptiness. And it's not really there, it's just emptiness. So the flowing water is the illusion, and emptiness is where it's appearing from. Everything that's flowing from it is wild, it's wildness, it doesn't have any control. It's just happening by itself. So what is seemingly happening by itself is this fantasy that's not even real. In a in the appearance of this movement, there's just this complete stillness. So it's kind of like what I said before. It's like a 360-degree black screen. Everywhere you go is an illusion. Everything that you go is like this images and sounds and smells and sensations and feelings and everything. But all of that is a fantasy. None of that is real, but it feels absolutely real because the illusion is the self itself. So the self that is trying to figure this out, the self that's trying to lose itself, the me that's trying to get rid of the me can't do that because it's not even there at all. It's a black screen. It doesn't have any option. It doesn't have any choices. It's just an appearance. But the appearance is not just visual, because the moment that it's mentioned that it's an appearance, that there is this like hallucination, but the appearance encompasses everything. It's a feeling, it's a sensation, it's this felt sense of realness, it's interacting with everybody, but no one's really there because no one's here in the first place. And it's just unknowable. It's just completely unknowable. It's not something that can be figured out. No one has figured it out because there's no one at all. No one can land into something and say that I have achieved this, because everything that is expressed in this fantastical imaginary illusion is just a story. So no one has the truth. No one has the no truth. No one has arrived. No one has the knowledge. No one has anything at all, because whatever appears in a dream is a dream itself. There's no hierarchy in dreams. There's no better illusions. There's no illusion that figured out. So what's being illuminated here is that you're screwed. Because there's nothing that you can do to undo this, because this is not even addressing you. This is just turning on all the lights. And when the lights are all turned on, nothing has ever happened. Nothing has ever existed. Nothing will happen in the future. So when it's seen that their lights are always on, that there's no one here, that this is just happening by itself, and it's beyond understanding, it's beyond attaining, and there's this hopelessness, a complete hopelessness of ever getting somewhere. Everything that is appearing as it is becomes it, apparently. Everything that is seen, everything that's going on is what's longed for. Because what seems to be sought for is the emptiness, the absence of everything. But seemingly there's this apparent conditioning of trying to find myself, trying to lose myself. Anything that the self has is just a desire that just goes in an endless loop. So when there is this complete hopelessness, no futile, it's completely unknowable, there's nowhere of getting anywhere, then there's unconditional freedom. When everything is lost, when everything is gone, when everything that is held on to like knowing and wisdom, when all of that drops away, meaning that it doesn't have any power anymore, then the absence of whatever is being held on to is seen. And that absence of you is the unconditional freedom of everything being whole and complete. Why don't we start with some questions? Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. You can also type in your question if you like. Oh, I'll open up the chat, sorry.
Hey, Emerson.
Hey.
Hey, it's Jim.
Oh, hi, Jim. How are you doing?
Haven't seen you in a while.
How are you doing? Good to see you.
I want to jump straight to the here and now.
Okay.
This character is just getting through COVID, okay? This
No.
character, it's a long story. This character finally got COVID, okay? and a lot of weird things happened. I kept thinking, how can I use non-duality to deal with COVID?
You can't.
So no, I did. I actually did.
Okay. All right.
Every time I had some kind of weird symptom, I've had some very bizarre symptoms. Right now, I want to stay with right now. Right now, I'm feeling pretty good, but I'm still having there's still some COVID symptoms going on. But last night, I had this incredible back pain, and it was worrying the heck out of me because it just kept getting worse and worse. I kept using non-duality, like there's no me, there's no pain.
Oh no.
I'm not hurting. I'm not hurting, stuff like that. I kept using these concepts because sometimes they work, you know. And suddenly I remembered a weird thing. I had put a pack of ice in the fridge, what do they call them? An ice pack, okay, an ice pack. So I got that thing, I stuck it on my back, and man, about a half hour later, I was feeling good. So anyway.
It was the ice, it was not non-duality.
Yeah. And I kept thinking, there's some things about non-duality that's really practical and really useful, but I know I'm not supposed to be using it. No, it's not about using it, it's what actually is. That's why I was talking about the here and now, like right here and now. This is sitting here feeling pretty good, hoping no other weird symptoms will show up, and hoping I can remember some special non-dual technique.
Yeah, well, there's actually, whatever works in the dream, Jim, but there's no such thing as non-duality too. So it's okay. Another fantasy.
Well, in my books, my books by Andreas and Tony and all that, yeah. There's all kinds of techniques, subtle techniques hidden in there, you know.
Oh, they will not agree with you.
Huh? But I kept thinking, I'm not going to get COVID. I meaning this character. I'm trying to separate myself from the character. Okay, this character is not going to get COVID. And suddenly I had it. It's like, oh my God, man, my time ran out. And I don't know what else to say about it other than I want to talk about here and now. And this character is feeling pretty good. And I don't know what else to say because I'm not that character. I don't even know what I am. I'm sitting here rattling. Maybe I should get off the line here.
No worries.
There really isn't much else to say. If I got into my character, I could go on and on about what happened, what I'm going to do, what my plans are, what I'm going to do next. But I sort of know that I'm not going to be doing much of anything. I'm just probably going to be sitting here looking and waiting to see what the other thing is going to do next. The other thing meaning that which is not Jim. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, Jim.
and I know better than to ask you for advice, man.
Well, there's no here and now.
Cool. Okay, that answers one of my major questions because I'm a little bit worried about the next here and now. You know,
there's no next too. So
like what's going to happen next?
There's no next.
Yeah. Dang, you mean it's just this?
Nothing else. Just this. Not even this.
I'm hoping for a permanent good, a permanent goody, you know. But I kind of know better.
Did you not hear my introduction?
The what?
Love you, Jim.
So
it's hopeless. It's hopeless because there's no permanent bliss or something that people seem to look for. It's just this. So this is already it. There's nothing outside of this. There's no after this. There's no before this. There's no now and here. It's just this.
But when I had
no one knows that.
When I had that incredible back pain going on last night, I kept thinking, well, this is it. there's just this, but it wasn't much fun. It's almost like
It doesn't have to be fun.
how can I round up or how can I achieve a good this, like a really nice this. And then this morning it happened. This morning there's no pain. The back pain is gone. I have no idea what it was or why it was there. I don't have doctors that I consult with, so it was funny how it disappeared. I'm thinking, did I do something or what?
No.
Anyway, man, I just want to say hi.
Thank you, Jim.
Happy to be hearing all this stuff. I'm going to get off the line because I really don't have much else to contribute except for what I just said. Talk to you later, man.
Jim.
Have
Talk
a
to you
good day.
later. You too.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Someone is asking me here about, the Sunday event starts at 10 a.m. Toronto time. You can book online, Emerson Non-duality.com.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Deanna.
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, hi. Oh, you have a puppy there.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, when the world is transparent, including the me, and this is seen. Sorry, I'm losing, my voice is a little bit scratchy, I just realized. So when there's this transparency of the world, and this is seen, it's not a visual seeing, it's more of a resonance is the word that comes to mind.
Yeah, it's a better word, yeah.
But what is that? It is, I prefer emptiness over nothing, because nothing sort of implies sort of like a dead zone. It's emptiness is not dead. It's awake. It's alive. Not in the sense of, of a person, of what we think of as being alive, because most of what we think of being alive is actually not living. But so anyway, there seems to be a preference for the word emptiness over nothing.
Likewise, this character likes emptiness too. But don't get stuck in words, because they're just really labels.
I know.
And trying to figure out something that can't be figured out, right? So they're just labels, yeah. But go ahead, sir.
Trying to kind of catch it, It's like trying to catch it, with words.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely hopeless.
It is.
But
yeah.
this resonance, can we say, with the understanding that the words are not capturing it, it's not capturable. But can we say anything about the resonance of this?
Yeah, it's like this is not gonna make sense, but this might it's kind of like a remembrance of something, although there's no time. It's something that is intuitive, something kind of like you might not agree with, but there's this kind of like an aha to it. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of like
Say it again.
It's this intuitiveness. It's this intuitiveness that doesn't have any kind of meaning to it. It's like, I don't know why I keep on listening to this, but there is some I'm magnetized to listen to this, because it's emptiness, basically seeing its own emptiness.
Yeah.
It's emptiness,
what is
hearing empty words. Sorry, go ahead.
How do we recognize how do we know when this resonance is present? For lack of a better word.
Yeah. When there is this, I can only speak it from a suggested point of view if there's no one here. But when there was this resonance, listening to this communication, it was magnetized to it and also rejected it at the same time. It's kind of like it's like a truth that you don't want to hear. It's almost an intuitiveness that there's something that is again, the best way to describe it is the emptiness is seeing its own emptiness, meaning the absence of knowledge, the absence of knowing, the absence of concepts, the absence of that. Although everything that is being expressed here is a story, a concept, an idea, but they're empty words. It's not landing anywhere. It's not trying to give you something to work on. It's an unraveling. It's an unknowing. It's like a deprogramming, because we apparently come to these meetings, with a lot of fullness of wanting to know, wanting to grasp, wanting to understand. And in the story, there's probably a lot of seekers here that have done many years of seeking, of acquiring books and learning all of this stuff, and getting really interested in enlightenment, and has their own set of labels and vocabulary. Like some people will call it the I am consciousness, awareness, and all that kind of stuff. And so the resonance is the seeing that it's all absent, meaning that nothing is happening. It's almost kind of like a blackout feeling. It's kind of like, oh, I can't figure it out, but I'm resonating with it.
And yet it's undeniable. It's this weird, this weird conundrum. It's empty, but it's undeniably present.
Yeah.
It's undeniable. I mean, there's no doubts.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Well, it's always undeniable, but seemingly in this seeking kind of like history of a seeker, they usually encounter a lot of practices, a lot of knowing, a lot of getting, a lot of understanding. So this is like an unraveling, almost kind of like when something arises, it's shut down. Because this doesn't have any, it's expressing the emptiness of everything, that this is really nothing. And it doesn't really address the individual's needs for enlightenment, because it doesn't see an individual. Everything is emptiness.
That doer is super persistent. It's really like it's like the core addiction. It feels like an addiction. And it's not, like you said in the intro, it's not going to disappear. It's going to keep.
No.
It's going to keep happening. I mean, it's inescapable.
Yeah.
But yet there's, when the emptiness is felt, it feels like more of a feeling than a seeing. The resonance is more.
It is energetic. It's energetic. That's the word that I was looking for. There's this boundlessness about it. There's this empty energy that doesn't get you somewhere, because there's no you to get somewhere. It just
really the only
that
thing.
Nothing. Sorry, go ahead.
Just the only thing seems to be is just to rest in the unknowing, just the mystery, and just sort of like trust the mystery. I don't. Just kind of like that, but allow it.
But no one doing it, right? It's a natural. It's a naturalness. Yeah, it's like when you're watching a river flowing, it's just flowing. You're not trying to stop it. You're not trying to make it go faster, or you're trying to slow it down, or trying to steer it in a different direction. It's just flowing.
How I've oscillate sometimes between sitting on, just sitting in this, and like this kind of like this subtle sense of inertia of just allowing. And
I don't really like doing the allowing, because it implies that there's a doing, that someone is allowing it. That can get trapped into that. That's why the oscillation's happening, because there's an allowance, and then when it's not allowed, then it's all of a sudden. But allowance is also just another illusion. There's no separate entity to allow or not to allow. It's just flowing by itself. And you'll see it, for example, when you are, I don't know what you like doing. Like for example, I was playing with my puppy earlier. It's just running around, and I was running, and there was just this, and then the grass is greener. The scent is the scents of the flowers are more beautiful. or somebody
Yeah.
cooking, or somebody, doing whatever that there is. Just, it's the wordless experiences, the one that doesn't have any thinking or any words. It's just all happening, because thinking is an illusion. So when everything is just seen as just automatically happening, then there's this almost like a radical acceptance, but no one is accepting it.
Yeah.
Everything that is happening is just happening by itself, without anyone allowing or disallowing it.
Yeah. But do you know what I mean by that subtle sense of inertia?
Yeah.
Like you just, I don't know, like there's not the commitment, to
Yeah.
doing anything that
Yeah.
might have existed. The passion, I don't know. Yeah, it's that's also not, that's also an idea.
Yeah, everything is everything that I'm saying is a story, idea, concept, but it's to illuminate that everything is an empty. This is all emptiness. All the words that you're saying right now is like a bird chirping, and I'm chirping back to you.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
there's this energetic. You hear
I
the
hear
chirp?
you. It feels like the bees buzzing,
We're
the
just buzzing. Yeah,
bees.
yeah.
Yeah, or just buzzing. It almost feels like as soon as there's any perception, any perception, it's already a memory. Like when you said there is no now, it's already a memory.
Yes.
Once there's a
Yeah.
perception, already kind of past tense.
It is. It can't be captured in word, right? And
Yeah, no.
and
Yeah.
it can't be captured in location. It can't be measured. It can't be contained. It can't be anything at all, because it's a no thing. It's not a thing. It's not an idea.
It's
It's
not a
not
thing.
something.
Yeah.
Not a thing at all. Yeah. It's this
It's not a
wondrous
thing,
openness.
but it's not, absolutely. It's not a thing, but it's
Yeah.
not nothing. It's something. I mean, it's an essential, it's an essential isness, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, yeah. It can't be labeled. It's the unlabeled,
No.
right? It's this appearance of something that's not appearing. It's the absence and the fullness at the same time.
Yeah.
It's the silence and the sound happening at the same time. It's this energy, this empty energy that's appearing as your energy and my energy, but there's no separate energy. This is all energy.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, yeah, and but there's like an aliveness. This like.
We can even call it this aliveness that appears in everything. Aliveness when you're crying your eyes out. Aliveness when you're in despair. Aliveness when you're sleeping. Aliveness when you're snoring. It's in everything.
Yeah. It's interesting. What is, boredom? Like, what is going on with boredom? Because it's like there's like this aliveness, and then it's sort of, it's like a breathing thing. It doesn't, you can't capture it. So it's alive, and then it's apparently boring. It's like boredom. Like, what's next? Should I do something? Should I get up off the couch? Or so I mean,
it's that seeking energy still, that addictive energy still of wanting something that is not, right? So what is being presented all the time. It's kind of like, ta-da, here it is. It's always this. There's nothing outside in this. And then the seeking energy, or the addicted, being kind of like, this is boring. But it's also it. Even that expression that this is boring, or I'd rather do something else, is also it. So everything that appears is aliveness itself, is emptiness itself. So everything that you think about, every sensation, every feeling, everything, and nothing is emptiness. And if there's nothing that is not emptiness. Everything that appears, everything that you imagine, everything that you avoid, everything that you reject is emptiness. The rejecting and the rejected is the same emptiness. So there's nothing at all. Like this apparent room has like, I don't know how many, there's apparent like 54 like different boxes of energy, right? It's all one singular energy appearing as these different boxes that's appearing in this Zoom meeting. And there's no one here at all. It's just this energy that is expressing as Deanna, expressing as Steve, Carol, Jim, Ileana. It's appearing as that. But when it's seen in this directness, in this intimacy, in this nakedness, it's just this energy by itself. And it can't be divided, it can't be killed, it's always there. But there's this, the energy appears as whatever it is, appears as thoughts, appears as ideas, appears as a rejection of this idea. But an idea is just an idea, and it can't undo anything. So there's just
there's this like, go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No.
I was going to say,
I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. There's like this persistent fantasy that boredom is supposed to disappear once the fullness of this message has been realized or seen, that it's just this eloquent expression of, it's not inertia, it's not bored. I mean, that's a fantasy, or is that actually?
It's a fantasy because there's no one here, right? So the comparison is, you're comparing illusion to another illusion. Everything that you see, it doesn't matter if it's a speaker that is really clear or whatever. They're all illusions. They're not there. So, for example, I'll say that in this apparent appearance, there's no boredom here. But that's just a story as well, right? It's not something that what seems to happen is like, I would love to be an eloquent speaker about this, and would love to have this clarity and everything. But that's comparing an illusion to another illusion, and again, kind of like what I'm saying, it denies what's being expressed right now. The intimacy, the immediacy of this is expressing as that appearance named Diana over there.
Because the beingness is complete. I mean, it's just the whatever is happening is complete.
It's complete, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not even call it beingness. Like, I'm trying to kind of like shut down some words, because being and meaning, it's just another, let's just call it this energy, this intimate, undividable energy that's open to everything, that is in everything.
Being is one of those funky words because it's a noun and a verb.
Yes.
So I think sometimes when people hear being, they're hearing it in the sense of a noun,
soul.
like
A soul or a force or a something, something that's separate, right? And that's why I don't like
but being is just more like noun, like rather verbing, like verbing, Emerson-ing, Diana-ing, being, just like whatever is this.
It's just inging. It's just inging by itself. It's just the ing.
It's just the ing, yeah.
It's just the ing,
I wanted to ask you, before you come onto these, I mean, you clean your own house, right? You clean the toilets. You pick up the dog poop every day, a couple of times a day. Is there anything you do to prepare for these calls? Do you have to like sort of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, do you know what I mean? I mean, because when you go out to clean the dog, you just go out and do it. You don't. But
there's an appearance of
like
an Emerson. There's an appearance of Emerson here. You know what I'm saying? But there's no one here really. So everything is just an inging. So there is an apparent setting up, putting in a camera, looking for the cord, testing the microphone, That's basically it. But there's really no preparation in terms of what I'm going to be talking about. It just comes in because there's just this automaticness in the apparent like 5-day or the 3-day things. I write down titles so that I don't repeat because I'm forgetful. So I'll just have a title and I'll come up with a funky title like "You've Never Been Here," and then it will just expand from that sentence. That's basically it. So it's
But I mean,
it's this automatic. Oh, sorry.
Oh no,
Go ahead.
sorry. But do you spend like a few moments just, like just deleting sort of Emerson?
No,
No.
because there's no Emerson to delete, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just all of this is just spontaneously happening. This is like automatic, like a robot kind of thing. There's no one here deciding to do anything. So all of these talks are just that's why I love doing it, because I always say this when I DJ. I've always known this ever since I was a little kid. The reason that I love doing it is because there's no Emerson, there's no thinking involved. It's just happening by itself because it's so busy, right? You're putting on the next track, another track comes in. You see people dancing. You kind of like wrist your fist a little bit, and there's just this. It's like this. It's like this. Like everything else. It's always been. But there is this narrator. Someone mentioned that there's this apparent narrator that creates this narrative of Emerson's going to prepare now. Oh, what are we going to talk about that? That's the illusion. That's the dream. So what's happening is that there's just this thing without a story. It's just this happening that's not really happening, because this is stillness. This is silence. So all of this appearance, this sound, these words, this movement is actual stillness. It's emptiness. So this is animated emptiness.
So always silence is happening.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
There's this piece that is it can't be understood, right?
Yeah.
It's something that is just always there. It's never a separate piece. It's a piece that's so whole and complete that it appears in everything, even in the most chaotic moments, like picking up poop. There's peace. Or stepping on poop. It's just what is.
What if you're walking down the street and you see someone beating their dog? Sorry to be so graphic.
Yeah, for sure. So the apparent, there's going to be an apparent reaction to that. You know what I'm saying? This character would probably say, "Hey, what are you doing?" That kind of thing, because I like dogs, right? And or probably will call the police and everything, or try to get some help, someone beating up a dog. But there's no one doing that. It's just reacting to what's seemingly happening. So we never really know. For example, if it's kind of like when someone surprises you from the back and you're like, and you get rattled or something. It's like that. No one's choosing to do anything. It's just a happening. So they're still going, it's not going to say that, well, there's no one there and there's no dog there and this is not really happening, and just ignore it. That's bypassing. This is actually a full-on acceptance, a radical acceptance of whatever is appearing. So a reaction that's appearing to nothing. So the character is still going to react to whatever. It's going to either, stop it, just based from this character. I don't know what's going to happen, because that's just another fantasy story. But in a fantasy story, most likely this character will step up there and say, "What up?" What or kind of like try to do something. It's not going to see that it's not denying anything. It's actually the opposite. It's this full-on expression. So anger might arise. You know what I'm saying? You say, "Hey." And it's just what is. That's also emptiness going, "Hey," emptiness stopping, but that's also emptiness beating up the dog.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's also emptiness as a dog that's getting beat up. That's the emptiness, doing vicious stuff.
Is pain experienced?
Yeah, but by no one. So it's not that I have pain. Pain is happening. Pain is happening. If you really look at it, for example, if you got beat up or something, pain is happening in the body. The moment that the story attaches that I got beat up, I got this happening, and then the pain compounds, right? It becomes this suffering.
Yeah.
So pain happens,
Yeah.
but suffering is optional. It's not there.
Yeah.
It's just what's happening. The pain actually is really intense because it's not avoided. It's radically accepted as it is. So if the pain is paining by itself, it could be the intense pain that's happening. I caught my fingers in a garage door, and there was this extreme pain, and I was just so all of these endorphins are running through this throbbing pain, right? And all of these endorphins became actually euphoric, and I started laughing. I'm like, oh wow, because this thought came. This is probably how those S&M people like this, because it can be euphoric at the same time. So there's this innocence and everything. It's not the story of like Emerson is clumsy, Emerson is that. It's just seen as kind of like a little rainfall or a little kind of like, drizzle. It doesn't mean anything at all. It's like the weather outside.
Yeah.
There's no
And
inside
finally,
or outside. Yeah.
Finally, one more thing, and then I'll let someone else. What is this? This feels almost like an addiction, this needing to hear this. It feels, it's like the latest iteration of the addiction. What to do?
There's nothing that you can do, unfortunately.
No, I know.
There's nothing that there's this resonance, there's this emptiness, there's this directness in this communication that is very relaxing, or very at the same time, to people that are just rejecting it, it could be really confronting. And that confronting is scary, but it's what it wants. It's addicted to it, it's repulsed by it, everything, right? But it's either repulsed by emptiness because it doesn't want to be empty, or it resonates with emptiness because it sees its own emptiness, or addicted to emptiness because it's what it's seeking for, its own emptiness.
Yeah.
So what's being expressed here is this: it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't give any prescriptions, it doesn't give any practices.
No.
It's just all empty. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I have to say, a lot of the people, many of the speakers that are talking about this, it feels like they're talking, it feels very flat. There's like no joy in it. And that doesn't resonate for me. Like, this is actually extremely joyful, even like the fullness is undeniable. Even in the emptiness, the fullness is just undeniable. And there's so much, and not everyone that's actually speaking about this and writing books about this, it has that, it doesn't feel like it's coming as that. It's coming, I don't know, whatever, I don't know what I'm saying. But anyway, thank you. That was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Deanna. It's just aliveness. That's what it is. It's in everything, though. Caroline goes, "Hi, Emerson. You and others talk about there is no one, and later on there is nothing." I can phrase it properly, but is there a difference, or are there two different visions? And the question is clearly pointless. No one and no thing or nothing is basically synonymous. It's what's being expressed here is that, since what's being expressed here is just expressing the emptiness of it all, the emptiness appearing as someone, or no one appearing as someone. There are no two different visions. It's clear. It's like what's being expressed here. When it's seen that there's nothing happening and there's no one happening it too, then it sees the immediacy, the directness, that this is already whole and complete. And because when there is someone or something or someone, then there is a separation. So there are no others, there's no other things. It's just this appearance of nothing appearing as this fullness, this aliveness, this emptiness, this everything. Thank you for that question. Jim goes, and iPhone goes, that's a narrator. Jim goes, for me, there is indescribable emptiness, fullness, no thing, everything, just words. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Erie and Rigo. Jim goes, no one is beating anything, it's just the happening. Standing up to the beater is happening. There's just happening, who knows why or how. Who even cares? Who cares? Can you say anything about awareness or consciousness, not in the sense that there is personal subject-object awareness, but that all there is awareness? I hear some more radical messages rejecting the notion of awareness. I'm only going to speak from this apparent position because this apparent character was a teacher of that awareness, of a seed of consciousness, and all of that kind of stuff. So from this apparent storyline here, when it was teaching awareness, it was more of an abiding in awareness, or separation of some sort, or trying to get to awareness. So there was this constant going and being and being and all this kind of stuff into trying to be pure consciousness, or a landing or a completion. What's being expressed here is just this not a rejection of anything at all, not even a rejection of that idea, but just the clarity that there's nothing needed. There's no awareness needed. There's no consciousness needed. Again, they're just all labels in something that is fantastically this already. It doesn't need an understanding, it doesn't need an awareness or consciousness, because they seem to be in this expression anyway. There seems to be a heaviness here, because I used to teach that. I used to guide people into their seat of consciousness, or teaching meditation for about 10 years. So it avoids talking about that, but everything is allowed. There's nothing rejected. But the teaching of trying to attain this by reaching a position or a location is seen as just another illusion. As I said earlier, an illusion will only just keep on illusioning. So even if an illusion is abiding in whatever, it's another illusion. There are no states, there's no measurement, it's just this, and there's nothing outside of this. If you want to add to that, Matthew, if you want to discuss that, please go ahead. For some odd reason, this topic has been asked via email plenty of times lately. I don't know why. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you, Matthew. Come to the UK. Yes, hopefully soon, Kane. Thank you. Are you still doing the one in Vancouver? We had some issues with the location in Vancouver, so we're planning to move it to a different date. Because it's a long 5-day event, the venue that we had, we can only do 3 days, and I really wanted to do the 5 days. But I'm doing one in Montreal in October, and there are requests to do more of the 5 days again. Maybe I'll do 4 days. you get tired doing. No, not at all. As I said, there's so much enjoyment here in speaking about this. There's just this passion that's coming from nowhere, and I usually get more energy speaking about this because it's not trying to get anywhere. It's very light. It's very woohoo. It's very hooray. Can you show your tattoo? It's a whale. It's a funny story. It's a funny story. The whale basically is I had a dream. This is just another story. There was a dream of this character that it was on a boat, and then a whale ate the whole boat and take this character to the depths of the ocean, and that was basically like a glimpse of eternity. So when I was desperately seeking, I thought that tattoo would get me there. But it's just a story.
Emerson.
Oh, hi, Joe. Hi, Jim.
Hey, Emerson. Not to be rude, disrespectful, or intrusive, but sitting there right now, right where you are, right at this moment, what are you?
There's no one here. There's no you or we or our. These words, as I say, are just really just a label of something that is just this fullness, this energy. The moment that we put labels into it, it becomes a story. So if we're talking directly right now, there's nothing here. There's no one there. There's nothing here. All that you see is just ideas. It's an illusion. It's a fantasy that labels are attached to it. So if we label it, then you can say that this is an apparent person speaking to a person, but that's just a word. We're just really chirping here. We're chirping back and forth. And this is all emptiness. This is all this energy. And there's no separation here, but seemingly because of words and ideas, there seems to be a you and I, but there's really nothing happening. So it's not rude at all.
Do you think you could describe what the feelings that are occurring there, the feelings that are appearing there with you, with that, or I don't know how to put it.
Yeah,
Are there
again,
any
again, any feelings would come out as labels, right? So I'll try to describe it. In the story, there's this gladness, there's this appreciation, there's this passion in speaking about this. In the story, this is like DJing. This is a favorite thing to do because it's empty. It's not trying to get anywhere. It's just this expression. So this emptiness is expressing its emptiness and speaking to emptiness about emptiness. And that's basically it. So there's this lightness.
So that's how it feels light.
Light, yeah. Very light.
For you,
yeah.
Over there. it's very difficult.
And that's just a story. That's just a story because that's like, that's just another description of something that is not really permanent, right?
Say that again. Sorry.
Everything that's being expressed here is just words and illusions, fantasy of something that is just passing. Meaning that all of this description is not a location. It's just a passing cloud.
Yeah, that's how it feels to me, that it's
it's
temporary.
Everything is just passing.
If I talked about my feelings, it'd probably be about the same. I feel good. I feel comfortable, happy, light, joyous, free, peaceful. I don't know. There's a million words.
Hooray!
Feelings words can go on forever. But the reason I asked you about what are you, I was given that question years and years ago, and I never found the answer. What am I?
Yeah, because everything that will come up will just be another idea or a story or a label, right? So this is without any label. This is an untold story. This doesn't have anything or any story at all, because everything that comes as a story, it's an illusion. So this is the unknowable. I'm even saying too much now. Damn it, Jim.
Yeah. For me, when the question, what am I? I've been working on it quite a bit lately. When the question, what am I, is present, which was quite often, especially when I was feeling sick. Two basic answers, two basic responses come up. The first one is, I'm Jim, just this little, small, vulnerable, fragile, temporary individual, this feeling this and feeling that. And the other answer is kind of like it's like a non-answer. It's kind of like just this. It's an indescribable response. It's almost like, what am I, is followed by it's not a stupid answer, and it's not a non-answer. It's more like an indescribable answer.
It is because
if I try to
sorry,
put
go
words
ahead.
to it, like if I try to put a label on it, I might come up with words like awareness, aliveness, presence. I don't know. There's a whole pile of words that can be used. On this emptiness. Even emptiness came up one time. I had this realization that my me had dissolved, and immediately afterwards, the word emptiness appeared in my mind. And it's very difficult to talk about this stuff because it's a description that's not really actually a description. I'm just talking about it. And the word emptiness appeared, but it was funny. It didn't follow itself up with emptiness, fullness, okay? I don't know why. Fullness, for some reason, didn't occur. But that's in the past. I mean, right now, sitting here right now, what am I? That's why I ask you, what am I? Who are you, or what are you? I avoid the word who. Anyway, what are you? I really love your answer because it, I don't know, I guess it works, okay? I don't know how else to say it.
This is laughter.
Huh? Yeah.
Laughter.
What am I?
That's it.
I'd love to explain it, but I can't. What will be, will be. Hey, thanks for talking about that a little bit. I know that's a very difficult question. Who, what am I? But in my opinion, it's a very significant question. If a person can come up with some kind of answers. Thanks, Emerson.
Thank
I'll
you,
go back to sleep now, man.
No one's there to sleep.
Ooh, that hurt.
Thank you, Jim. Deanna goes, I seem to care not at all the same. If you want to expand on that one, Deanna, please go ahead. Emerson is agency. Oh, there she is. Yeah.
Oh, I was just, yeah. It was just someone in the chat had said about the beating. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares if it, maybe I didn't read that comment correctly, and that's very possible, but caring seems to happen. Compassion happens.
Yeah.
And there's room. We're not all expressing equally, same. Maybe equally, but not same. All equally valid, but it's not all the same. And I seem to care, and I don't know. I was asking you about in the chat also about agency. Is agency just a complete fantasy?
It is, yeah. Even caring for someone or something, love, it's all fantasy. So everything that is appearing that suggests any kind of separation, agency, caring, loving, is just another fantasy, because it's just an inging, it's just a label, it's just the sensations that's appearing. So for example, when there was this apparent teacher here before, it did selfless service to help others, right? And it initially came out really earnest because there was this, about 12 years ago, there was this apparent openness or awakening of some sort in the dream. And so it thought by maintaining that it needed to help others. So it did that. But seemingly now that it's seen that there's no one here to help, helping happens by itself. There's actually a kinder character because it's not doing it for any purpose or reason. It just is automatically happening. For example, if there is a person that needs food or something, like a homeless, there's not kind of like, I'm not banking on it anymore, or thinking that I'm doing this for the purpose of my higher self or something. So when all of that bullshit is gone, kindness is appearing, loving, or caring for my mom happens without any reason, without any purpose, without any relations even. It's just happening by itself. And it's actually quite deep and beautiful and not shallow, say, because trying to imagine something that will have kind of like a cause and effect. For example, if I love you, you will love me back. There's no reason to love you. There's love is really empty because there's no one there. So there's this kinder, more loving character for no one. And it's also not a doormat anymore.
Yeah, I mean, even for someone else, it may be just walking by and doing, saying or feeling nothing, and that's valid. But
that's valid too. That's valid too.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's this tapestry is so rich. I mean, it seems that there's space and infinity for all,
for everything,
manner of expression.
Yeah, in the infinite expression of infinity, it will express infinitely as whatever.
So it sounds like agency. Absolutely, what you said, if I heard you correctly, there's like, we're like marionettes, basically. Like these characters are, we're just marionettes. I mean, there's nothing.
This is moving by itself. It's not there's no choice in any of this. It's kind of like the heart beating, the lungs, going back and forth, breathing happening, thoughts happening, apparent decisions happening. They're all automatically happening. There's no agency. There's no decision making. The decision making appears in thoughts. The ideas of control appears as thoughts, but there's no controlling. There's nothing. And this apparent expression of this emptiness appearing as trees, appearing as houses, appearing as clouds, appearing as leaves, with no decision. How special and basically to think that we have choices, that there's even a we here. Everything is happening automatically by itself. Yeah.
What about preferences? Like, I seem to have a preference for looking at a tree versus standing next to a jackhammer.
Yeah.
There seems to be a preference. Is that?
So everything that is being mentioned right now is a story. There's actually no preferences. It's just appearing in this immediacy and this directness. So it's coming up with this kind of like, I prefer chocolate, I prefer, mangoes, I prefer this, but there's really no one there. There's this illusion of a time that is linear, like the conditioning of some sort, that there's something that, that you prefer as a kid, but there's nothing outside of this. All that there is this. And everything that's appearing, like preferences, conditioning, allergies, all that kind of stuff is just appearing at this apparent infinite moment. And there are really no moments. So there's this kind of like, there's this from A to B, but there's no A to B. It's just this.
Do you know, I mean, there's an experience of tension like that sense of me, there seems to be like when the identity arises, it seems to correlate to like the body mind are kind of in cahoots, and then the body experiences tension. Do you is that completely dissolved, all tension in your?
Well, I don't even use the word body mind, because there's no such thing as body mind. It's just another label of this apparent existence.
All right, then the appearance of tension.
The appearance of tension, not really. You know what I'm saying? Illnesses can come, like I was sick for a while, you know what I'm saying? And there was this, I could not eat or everything, but everything was just an appearance of something. And then when you go to sleep, it disappears. So the storyteller has been, the gig is up for the storyteller, because the storyteller will say that you should do this, you deserve this, and all this kind of stuff. So that is fantasy now. So this narration of what's happening, and this apparent body, you know what I'm saying, is just pain. So when pain is just pain by itself, actually it comes in spurts. It's not the totality. It's not, it could be really, really bad because it's not rejected. Then it's when you sleep, it's not there. And then you wake up, and I had broken ribs from an apparent happening. So every time that I turned, there'll be a sharp pain, but most of the time I don't feel it at all. Yeah. So there's no tension.
For example,
there's no. Yeah.
So, like, for example, I mean, this is the illusion. The illusion is so deep. I mean, the rabbit hole, it just keeps going and going.
Well, it's if emptiness is going to appear as an illusion, it's going to be. Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, the illusion of experiencing tension, some kind of tension, is being experienced in the body mind. Okay, I'm going to say body mind because I still the seeming body mind.
Yeah. Okay.
And then if I go and go for a walk or do some yoga, I mean, it really it's reliably beneficial, seemingly, apparently.
Yeah.
There seems to be some like causal link to it. I know there is no causal, because there's only the now.
No. Yeah.
But isn't that so bizarre?
The illusion is, as I was trying to, infinity appearance and illusion, of course, going to be a perfect infinite illusion, meaning that there's no way out of it. So for example, the cause and effect as an illusion is really, really a felt sense of realness, right? For example, if you you hurt your back, lifting some stuff, you're going to feel it for 5 days or something. But the illusion is the 5 days. The illusion is the story of days. The illusion is the story of, before and after. That, I carried some boxes 5 days ago. That never happened. Everything is appearing in this immediacy, but this apparent, that's what I mean. When it's just pain, it's pain. It's just a happening. For example, if you got a pain in the back, I'll probably kind of like do some, some yoga or something, or put on some ice pack. It's not made into a story of like, is this an illusion or something? It doesn't even think of that. It just sees it as it is. It's a pain. It's a felt sense of pain, but there's no one having that pain. It's a felt sense of tension, but no one is having that tension. So for example, if there's a tension, it's immediately seen as something that I need to attend to. Like, for example, I'm like, I'm going to rest for a bit. I'm going to put a pillow on my back, that kind of thing. So what? Yeah, it's just a happening. So it doesn't even separate the body. Yeah,
it's like a
there's
lightness.
just a lightness to everything. Yeah. It doesn't even think that the body mind, or the body is feeling this way. No, because there's no separation here whatsoever. It sees everything as an illusion. It sees every label as an illusion. Body, mind, me, illusion, eternity, infinity, it's all the same here.
So when you're with your dogs, there is just the singularity. I mean, whatever is happening, there's just singularity.
Well, we already have an idea of what singularity is. It can't be. It can't
be
It's without ideas whatsoever, right? So whatever appears as it is. Because the moment that we stack on a label to it, like this is emptiness, it's label, then it becomes something, right? This can never be caught. So it appears as my dog nipping at my heel, biting my heel, and running around and everything. There's no separation. It appears as you and I speaking here, but this is energy is full and complete. There's no you and I here. There's an appearance, there's a felt sense that you're talking to someone here, although there's a seeing here that there's no one here, and that's what's being expressed there. And this is just what's happening. There's seemingly a felt sense reality of an illusory, perfect illusion of us talking right now, you asking questions, me apparently answering, but all of these words are like, barking or chirping or hissing. It's all silent. This is silence speaking to silence. And it's not even, because every ing is an illusion ing. Talking, breathing is all illusion. Everything that has a movement, everything that is being thought of, everything that is being fantasized about, imagined, is an illusion. What's being expressed here is not in any words or any fantasy or any thoughts or any ideas. It appears in everything. It's there when there is deep sleep. It's there when you're dreaming. It's there when you're in an emergency hospital. It's there when you're crying. It's always present. And it appears as everything. It appears as the medic. It appears as your best friend. It appears as your enemy. It appears as the dog getting beat up. It appears as war. It appears as chocolate. It appears as blinking of the eye. It appears as hair. It appears as choking. It appears as chaos. Appears as everything. So everything that the apparent you experience is emptiness experiencing itself. And there's not even experiencing, because experiencing is an illusion. It's just all emptiness.
So someone asked, I kind of blanked out when you were answering the question about, when you were answering the question about awareness, because I'm also attached, I'm fond of that word as well, awareness.
Yeah.
Even the awareness.
Yeah, I was.
Where there seems to be an awareness of the emptiness. And can you summarize
the awareness, what you just
what's
said,
wrong
there
with
seems to be an awareness with emptiness, seems to be a subject object, like even kind of like a subtle, kind of like I'm witnessing something. I am, witnessing this emptiness. But let's just take the I am completely. It's just all emptiness. It's emptiness appearing as awareness. Awareness is an illusion. There's no one aware, because that seems to be from here to here. I'm observing, I'm witnessing, I'm aware. There's this I amness in it, but I am is a dream. I am is the illusion. I am is the separator, this the narrator.
But it's not
It's
not a personal. It's not personal. It's not a personal me.
Even
aware. It feels
even if
universal.
Even that is another idea. It's another trap, right? Because when you say it's universal, universe, it's the source, it's the great spirit, it's God and everything, there's separation right away when it's seen that way. So it's trying to abide in it or trying to be in it, trying to be united with it, basically implies that there was a separation. There's never been any separation.
But I think, but it's, I don't know, the trying bit, it feels more like when presence when the emptiness is apparent and the transparency of me is apparent, something is aware of this whole play.
Yeah. See,
transparency.
So that's just another kind of like, another imagination that something is aware. It's not separate. It's all complete. So awareness, consciousness, witnessing, observing is all appearing at this apparent moment. This is emptiness appearing as everything. Is it separate? No.
but you're adding that word separation. It feels like the end of
Yeah.
separation. It feels
This is the end of
like
separation. Yeah.
the absence of
there's no,
separation.
yeah.
But
When
there's
there
there's a
is,
sense, but there's a sense of absence of separation, but it's obviously from a
mm,
perspective of me
there is,
inescapably
there's
separate.
still this, there's this subtle idea that, if I am witnessing, or I am, there's this, it's kind of like it has gone underground as a witness or it's unawareness, but that's another separation. So when it's everything is yanked off, let's rip all of these labels, so rip all of these labels, it's just this directly as this. And everything that comes, even what you're going to say, is a story, is an illusion.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
We're playing, it's like words, we're languaging. We're languaging the inexpressible. It's inexpressible, but yet we still are playing in but yet you do talk about emptiness. You talk about how can you talk about it if you don't know it, if you aren't it? Yet there's a recognition of being, verbing, emptiness.
For sure. I can answer that. So seemingly what apparently happened that didn't happen to anyone is the exposure that there was never really anyone. And I can't explain it. I can tell it in a story form, but there's an absence of someone here. There's a seeing that everything is just happening by itself. It's almost like the blinders are off. You're like, oh, wow, it's always been this way. There's just this automatic talking. There's no one choosing to do this. There's no intelligence here. There's no knowledge here. Everything is just appearing because everything that I'm saying is just labeled emptiness anyway. So everything that is being expressed here energetically is emptiness expressing itself. So no one knows anything. But there's
okay, but
see, that's the story that's appearing there. Yeah, there's an undeniability.
But I guess you're expressing the message with a degree of certainty. A certainty.
There's undeniability. Yeah. The only thing that is certain here, there's the undeniable here that there's no one here, and that's basically it. So if you really flip that in reverse, everything that's known, if you basically say that that's not happening, because the one that is perceiving, the one that is expressing is not here, and there's no one there as well. There's this illusion. It's kind of like there's two films happening. One is emptiness, and one is this sound, vision, and light. It's appearing. There's a glitch kind of like that happen. You're like, wait a second. Everything is an illusion. Everything is a story. And this story is stemming from this character named Emerson, but there's no Emerson here. So everything that is appearing is just this immediate expression, this passionate expression that nothing is really happening. This is all emptiness. And everything that is appearing here is just a label. There's a label of emptiness. So it sees the wholeness of everything, the no separation, and that's what is undeniable here. So if you hear what I said, there's always an apparently, and there's always what's being suggested, because there's no one here.
And yet Emerson,
there's no truth.
And yet there's treeing, It's and yet there's Emersoning.
Yeah.
Emerson,
and it's just everything is a story. As I said, this is an illusion, that's an illusion, everything is an illusion. There's no better illusion here that knows something that you don't know. Everything that we know is empty. Everything that we understand is also empty. So this is basically, if we peel off all the labels, this will be like empty, 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 and you'll be saying empty, 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 and I'll be like empty, 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 and everybody's hearing empty, empty, empty. Everybody's seeing empty, empty, empty. It's all empty. It's all emptiness. But there's this film, there's this, this veil of separation called words and understanding and languaging and feeling and others and all that kind of stuff. If you peel that off, it's all empty. You're like, oh my goodness, it's just emptiness appearing as words, appearing as ideas, appearing as someone that knows, but no one knows. Because how can emptiness know? It doesn't. Because knowing involves time, and there's no time. When it's all emptiness, when all of this infiniteness, meaning what's happening here is just this immeasurable silence appearing as everything. Yeah. Haha.
Do you love it? Do you love do you love it? Do you love the
I do,
this
yeah, yeah.
resonance?
I love talking. Yeah, I love it. I won't be doing it if I didn't love it, you know what I'm saying? I love doing it. I actually am doing on Sunday, like I'll probably do 3 2-hour events, you know, and it's just fun. It's like DJing. It's freedom. It's the unconditional freedom of expression of what is. And there's no one here. There's no one special here. There's no one special there. There's just this emptiness everywhere. And it's just a joy to talk about this. And there's just this yeah, I don't know if you can tell. I do love talking about this, apparently.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we went a little bit over time there. There's a couple of messages here. Dan goes, hey, Emerson, there seems to be moments of expansion which are then followed by contraction. And it seems like each time the contraction comes back, it's even more intense than before. Can you comment on that, please? And this is just a story, really. There's really no contraction. There's really nothing happening. But in the story, when there is this seeming moments of clarity, there's seeming to be a boomeranging back of something that is kind of like, you know, it's the belief system and everything, because it's almost like repressing it rises up again. That is just another, it's, you know, sometimes someone told me this, I can't remember who, but it's like an oscillation. You know, in and out, it's like a roller coaster. It's always empty. There are no moments. There are no contraction, really. In the apparent dream, there's contraction, but all of that is just an appearance. It's emptiness appearing as contraction, emptiness appearing as, what did you say there? Intensity, but it's all emptiness already. So thinking that the boomeranging back or the louder or the intensity is not emptiness is the idea of separation. It's the thinking that there is someone that lost itself and then gain it back itself. So that's the illusion of this and that. Jim goes, RE, I seem to care who or what is this? I, what seems to care? I don't know. It's just laughter. It's just this. Laura goes, you look very good, meaning beautiful and slim and cool. Awesome. No one is listening either. What's Love is a song that I love. What's love got to do? There's another one. Love is another idea. It's another fantasy. When there's unconditional love and then there's this romantic love. So love is just a word and labeling something. But what's being expressed here is that seemingly everything is already unconditional love. The moment that there is an idea of what love is, that is just an idea of separation again. It's just another label of what is. What's love got to do with it? Oh, happy birthday, Kane. I didn't even get to call you back. It's Kane's birthday, everyone. Greet him happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Emerson.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Emerson.
That was
Thank you.
fun.
Great.
Thanks, Emerson.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Love you.
Amazing, Emerson.
Love you. There's going to be a breakout room, and I'll see you guys Sunday.